Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning a Magazine, and this is a walkthrough of some recent vinyl acquisitions that I've made, and it's a very kind of varied bunch of stuff, and it was so varied I thought it'd probably be easier to combine it into one video. And so some of you will be thinking, that's interesting, or I didn't expect him to review that or even have that. But that's what Now Spinning Magazine is all about, isn't it? Keeping you on your toes and wondering what I'm going to come up with next. So here we go. The first one is a record store day release, and this is a band called Symposium with One Day at a Time. I don't think this is from 1997. I don't think this has ever been out on vinyl before. It's kind of American punk, Blink 182, that kind of feel to it, Green Day. It comes with a picture in a sleeve, and it's in glorious aquamarine vinyl as well. I really like it. It's my job to do this. Could this be improved upon? Yes, it could have a polylined inner sleeve, but that's our campaign at the moment, so okay, I'm going to mention that. But listen, there's a bit of scrapage going on there, and so that's my only criticism. It's record store day. It's a limited edition, but if you're into this band, which this album sold really well at the time, you can now get it on vinyl. It also comes with 2 extra tracks, Journey and Last Song Forever, which is on side 2. This is from Cooking Vinyl Records, who are a great label and also were responsible for the Alan Parsons Ginormous box set I reviewed just before Christmas. I'm going to stick with Cooking Vinyl with another artist that a year ago I would never have envisaged that I would have been buying or owning music by. I don't know why I've even said that, because that makes it sound like it's really extreme. It's not. It's Frank Black and the Catholics. Although I'm not sure whether the Catholics are involved in this. Frank Black live in 2006. It's also Cooking Vinyl, and it's also a record store day album. I got into Frank Black from the studio albums box set, 7 albums in there. I really like it. It's everything from like punkish, Steve Earle country rock to the Rolling Stones, really. And I've got the triple live album as well. This is 6 tracks on each side. It's again inner sleeve, not quite as harsh card as the other one, Symposium, orange vinyl. And I really enjoyed this. It's a bit. Sue was listening to it the other day. She said it sounds like it's a lot like Julian Cope in places. It is in a way. But my favourite track is I'm Not Dead, I'm in Pittsburgh. Everyone should hear that. It's it's a really great song. It really is good. It's got other songs like 66 is on here as well. But I've become a big Frank Black fan, so that's also really good. From there, I'm heading back to the early 70s, and this is Universal music, and this is, I think, proper music were behind this, and this is Richard Thompson and the Human Fly album, his first album from 1972. This is a classic in folk rock period. His first solo albums, I've just said. It's some great music on here. For me, it's one of those albums that I just play. The more I play it, the more I get out of it. I really do. But let me just show you this. It's a white paper inner sleeve, but it's poly-lined. It's poly-lined, slides in and out with no sound. Doesn't harm the record at all. It's poly-lined white sleeve. And so 10 out of 10 for Universal, proper music group, for doing that, because that's how to do it. So that is a great pressing, really is well protected as well, and a classic album. For those of you who don't know much about Richard Thompson from Fairport Convention, this is a wonderful place to start. Now I'm moving out now to a more esoteric area of music, and this is from those wonderful people at Fruits de Mer Records, and this is Nick Nicely and Afterworld, which is a collection of outtakes and demo tracks, a bit Syd Barrett, and also, I have to say, Julian Copish. Fruits Demur's association with Nick nicely dates back to 2012 when he released his successor to the Stone Cold classic, Hilly Fields. It says here on the press release inside the album, and basically he's been going through his tape archive and put together outtakes, and this is what this is. And so some of it's quite raw, quite rough around the edges, quite as if he's in the room with you, with the amp turned up rather high. But again, it's a nice anti-static sleeve and a wonderful splatter orangey type vinyl as well. So that's kind of very indie in places, but again, great release from Fruits Demur Records. The next one is connected to them. I reviewed recently, and I'm interviewing soon for the podcast, a band called Sendelica. I've reviewed 2 of their albums. I love them. And this is an offshoot of theirs. This is a side project. I'm going to make sure I do this in the right order. In fact, there are 2 side projects. I'm going to start with this one. Band of Cloud, A for Andromeda. This is a really psychedelic experience, this album. Comes with a postcard and it's on white vinyl, looking like a test pressing. Just 4 songs. That's it, just 4 songs. Poly-lined in a sleeve. Excellent. And in the notes inside here says the journey along the space-time continuum brings us to A for Andromeda, the second album from Band of Cloud, following the success of the critical acclaim of the 2022 debut album, This Is Tomorrow. I haven't heard that, so I can't comment on it. There's 4 tracks of hypnotic, psychedelic ambience floating through space and drifting through times. Sometimes it's an assault of the senses. Other times it's an LSD trip without the drugs. Occasionally it's... I can't even pronounce that word, but anyway, it's colour sound, possibly it's a signal from another galaxy. Maybe it's an instruction for design. It's wild. It's a bit like Tangerine Dream, Force Majeure, crossed with Star Trek. Because there's like voices in there from the Starship Enterprise or Captain's log. Those kind of recorded things from sci-fi films with music just bubbling underneath it. It really is something that if you put on when you've got people around, I can guarantee they will say, "What is this we're listening to?" Next is also from our Sendelica friends, and it is, no, it's not Pink Floyd. It is by an offshoot called The Lost Stoned Pandas. The Lost Stoned Pandas. And the album is Dark Side of the Noome. 5 songs. There is Dark Side of the Noome, dub mix, Interregnum, possibly, Lunar Sunrise, string mix, and then Dark Side of the Noome, the whole of the next side. I have to show you this because it's my job. Not poly-lined, but it's okay. Look at that. Glorious blue vinyl. This is a wonderful project, but it's not all little sticker. I think I made some notes on this, did I? Possibly. Comes with a poster to put on your bedroom wall, because everyone should have a Pandas poster. It says the Lost Stone Pandas were born from a conversation with Sendelica's Pete Bingham and Chris Needs during the recording of Sendelica's Orb Secret Knowledge EP Windmill, when the name coming from the very surreal gif of cavorting pandas. Sounds very interesting. It says the cupboard of pandas convened in the studios in sunny West Wales in July 2019 for a rather magical couple of days, drinking, eating and recording. It says each feels like a journey through ambient bliss, through ethnic rhythms, to a trip to inner or outer space, or whether you've had too many craft beers. It's fantastic. This I've played lots of times. It's Pete Bingham on guitars, Colin Constantine he did the sound design and rhythm, so there is some keyboard layering and bubbling around there. But it's very organic. Jack Johnson on drums and percussion, Kate Rares on cello, Paul Sachs on violin, Rhiannon Jones on viola, Glenda Pascoe on bass, and Chris Meekon on electronics. It's so good that they did a follow-up called Dark Side of the Moon 2. This is just 4 tracks. This is Lunar Mermaid, Moon Monster, Lunar Madness, and So It Begins. And again, the same cast of violins and strings and electronics is also there. It also comes with a poster to stick on underneath the other one. And this one is on transparent vinyl. So wonderful. The last one in my esoteric listing is on 45 RPM, which I didn't know, but it is. And it's called Incubus Love Child, The Terrorist. This is for Hawkwind techno fans, because those two types of people do exist, and this has got your name on it. It really has. This is fantastic. Honestly, it's really, it's very much like Hawkwind, you know, Warrior on the Edge of Time, but with lots of contemporary electronics and stuff. And I've played this a lot. As I say, it's at 45 RPM. It does say that on the back cover, but I never spotted it because I was obviously too taken by the splatter vinyl. But it's a great support bands like this. New artist, really good. The other ones, while I'm on the subject of polyline inner sleeves, yes, I am going to use every opportunity for this. This is an album that's not a new release, but I recently reviewed the Noose CD on Esoteric Records. They've released remastered version on CD. One of my lovely supporters and patrons, Yogi from Germany, on finding out that I didn't have a vinyl version of this, found one for me, and I shall treasure this forever. I just love this album. The reason why I'm showing you this in amongst all my recent vinyl albums, which I suppose it is recent because it's new and I've got it, was this. It was made in 1971, okay? And it does actually have an anti-static sleeve in it, which obviously is more recent, but this is the original 1971 sleeve, and it's poly-lined. 52 years ago, poly-lined sleeves were the norm. We didn't wash our records back then in the 70s or 80s. We just bought them and played them. Might use a dust bug, that was it. And the last two I want to cover are by Bebop Deluxe. This is on Esoteric Records, and this is a reissue. I have the original album from 1976 as well. You can see there's a slightly different colour in the print, but I think that's fair enough. You know, this is probably a facsimile, but this is not just a repressing. It is a repressing including the new remix from Stephen W. Taylor, who cut this at Abbey Road. Now, if you bought the 2 CD version, you've got this remix, but this is a chance to have it on vinyl. This was also included, not the vinyl, but the remix was included in the Super Deluxe edition as well. The difference is that this comes with a poster, which you can unravel and stick on your bedroom wall. It's a big poster as well of the back of the album cover, so that's really good. The inner sleeve itself is actually better quality paper than the original. I think the original was on really literally thick card. This is when the really oversight by Harvest back then, but Esoteric here have put together something that is smoother and actually more protective to the record, and they've tried to mirror the Harvest label as well. What do I think of the remix? Well, I love the remix on CD, and it is definitely the best version of this album to own. Yes, I'm going to retire my old vinyl version, and it's because things like Crying to the Sky, the guitar solo just sounds warmer, richer, and the soundstage is really good. It's a great remix, so it's highly recommended. And the last one in this video is Renaissance and A Song for All Seasons from 1978. And I'll be honest with this. I remember Northern Lights coming out, and I thought it was a twee song, and I was listening to Long Live Rock and Roll by Rainbow, Van Halen, Obsession by UFO, Pieces of 8 by Styx, all sorts of different things. And I just didn't bother. I knew that Renaissance were kind of a prog band in the early 70s, but I just thought, well, if it's like the single, it's nice, but, you know, I was wrong. I I'd been streaming it for ages, and then I saw that it was coming out on vinyl, and I jumped. A bit like Bebop Deluxe, this also comes with a poster, and I really like this poster because I'm really into photography, and I love the way that the photographs are of the same scene through the seasons. So that's really nice. But this is absolutely superb. It really is, because what do I like about it? There are two specific tracks that I love. They've tried to mimic the Warner Brothers label on here, and it is a song for all seasons, which I just love. I think it's classic prog. It's an epic song. The orchestral arrangements, the instrumentation, it's just brilliant. And the other one on side one is the second track in, called Day of the Dreamer, which is absolutely beautiful. So if you're into Renaissance, this is a great pressing. It's a great prog album, and it's something that I missed first time round. And this is again Esoteric Records, and it's Cherry Red. And I think it's lovely to see that Cherry Red are now venturing out into the world of vinyl and doing such a great job, and adding extras like posters as well. I think I'll touch on, this is going to be, what I'm going to show you now is going to be held back for a separate video, but it's Ian Hunter, Defiance Part 1. I've bought this on CD and vinyl, and the CD wins on every aspect of this release. I'm a massive Ian Hunter fan, which is why I bought both formats. But I'll tell you more in the next video I do, which is going to be looking at this album and what I think about vinyl. But you know, I'm also hoping to, if possible, talk to Ian about the record as well, which I think is one of his best. So anyway, thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting me. Thank you for subscribing and ringing that little bell and visiting all the different places Now Spinning Magazine hangs out online. Take care, and remember, music is the healer and the doctor, and I shall see you very, very soon.